Welcome back to Contemporary Black Voices. Before we get started, I want to recognize our producer. Sometimes Fred Williams calls him, what does he call him?
A
The
dictator.
dictator. So we want to recognize our dictator, our producer, Carl Booker, who has put this together for us weekly. And the other thing we want to recognize are two things also that although Carl says that he didn't do it by himself, which is true. But 2024 is an opportunity for you to see all of the events that happened in 2023 that for sure will happen again in 2024. So this is the Black Book for 22-23. In this book is a directory and a yearbook of Black events, plus a whole lot of pages of Black-owned businesses here in San Antonio. So that argument, well, there ain't nothing to do in San Antonio for Black folks. I beg to argue with you, okay? So go to, just make sure, www.blacksinsanantonio.com to purchase the book. The other thing that Carl produces, give me that newspaper right there,
Oh, sure.
is Blacks in, see, Life, see,
Black
uh,
Life Tech.
Black Life Texas in San Antonio. Now, all of us on this panel, we have all submitted articles for it in it. However, this is a weekly documentation of how we see the news in the world and in the area. And so if you're here in San Antonio, we have uh, the paper posted at HEB and at GEMS for free. So we ask that you support the paper, and hopefully maybe next year we have some more news as to how we're going to expand the newspaper. Here you go.
And finally,
And finally, we have our own cards. We have cards. And so you can again go to Carl, where do we get these? Black who?
Black Event Card.
Blackeventcards.com. Blackeventcards.com. And so we just came out of the Christmas holiday season. So if you want to buy your Christmas cards and event, go for it. So we want to continue our discussion of events that have happened in 2023.
Hey, before we do that,
Yeah.
I want people to see the fashionista that we have, and I kind of like
You
the.
like this?
Yeah, I kind
You like this?
I kind of like that. I hope the Peter folks don't
You
get
know
up.
what? The Peter folks can just sit down. Just sit down.
And before we do that, I want for my fellow cohorts to say in advance a
Happy New Year.
Happy New
Happy
Year
New Year.
to all of
right,
you.
guys.
Okay. Now I'll turn it back over to Sharon. And just to give you guys a little insight, Sharon's been sipping while we've been off camera. Okay.
Oh, that's not nice.
Well, Fred's not here.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna have to beat you up later. So, going back to our discussion about DEI, critical race theory, and affirmative action. Now, I have to admit, I was absolutely shocked when affirmative action got dismantled.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't have been shocked because of who's sitting on the Supreme Court, Clarence Thomas, who has benefited from affirmative action and supported the dismantling of affirmative action. But at the same time, I wasn't shocked because even though affirmative action was in place, there was still, and it could be debatable as to our movement within uh, college admissions, maybe promotions within organizations. So it's kind of a, yeah, it was a bittersweet exit for us, but I don't think that for us, but I don't think it really changed how things are being done in the world. What about you?
No, I agree. This is just like a pimple or something on your body. It's really manifesting itself what people have always felt about us. I am really appalled that this is happening, but I'm not surprised, and I'm glad that we're finding out now.
Now, you know what tickled me about the whole thing? The Chinese community, the Asian community, they really thought that supporting the dismantling of affirmative action was going to give them a leg up on a lot of college admissions, especially to those elite universities where there's legacy admissions. But now they're finding out the hard way that the way that we've been treated is the way they may be experiencing their admission into these elite colleges. And to anybody who are even thinking that the legacy programs are going to go away, no, they're not going away. They're not going away. That is a systemic, well-built racist system. And then finally, uh, again, going back to the diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, we're seeing a lot of the higher education programs being removed, making it illegal. But we're also seeing all those people who got promoted, especially Black folks, who got promoted into C-level DEI positions, have lost. Many of them have lost their jobs. Many have lost their jobs.
Yep.
So it's almost like full circle. Here we go. The same thing, different setting. What do you?
You know, I just wanted to say something a little bit different. In the first segment, Caleb talked about the African connection and what's happening as far as that's concerned. The difference I wanted to say is that I believe it's beginning to happen all over the world. I'm seeing the stuff in the Caribbean, like I'm working with a guy now in Belize who, is the head and bringing resources from America back to Belize. And I'm seeing this type of issue happening in all the smaller companies that are around. I think Africa is the big piece, I think, but the residual is also happening in other places as well, but not as big as it is in Africa.
What are your thoughts about that?
So on that part, yeah, no, it's always the diaspora globally has always had to suffer for the benefit of other folks. You can see what's going on. I'll give you another example in Guyana, in South America. So Venezuela is threatening to invade Guyana and take over basically two thirds of the country, because they found oil and a lot of resources on the area that borders Venezuela. So they're going to invade a Black country and take it over, a big section of it, because for the oil. And so here you have just another example of Black folks globally under the gun. It happens, and to give you an example, in Belize. So Belize, of course, a majority Black nation, but they're under assault from immigration from Mexico, and Mexico constantly bullies Belize, and Belize has to take in Mexico's immigrants. And so slowly you see that country's demographics changing. So yeah, everywhere. It's a global issue where you see Black folks under the gun everywhere. But fortunately, you have a group of countries in Africa that are fighting back and that are standing up, and hopefully that leads to a larger movement and a broader movement. And so the wonderful thing about these brothers who have taken over these countries is that they came up in a different era, and they see a connection. They understand a global connection between all of us. And there's nothing that's going to benefit us more is if you have unity over there and a powerful country that says, you know what, we don't like the way you treat your Blacks over there. So we're gonna have to have a conversation about how much uranium we're gonna ship you guys, or how much titanium we're gonna ship you guys. And so this idea of global unity and global power, it's something. So for foundational Black Americans that are wondering how would this benefit them, that's the way it's going to benefit you.
I think that definitely is going to happen. I mean, those countries in Africa are going to be able to say, because those countries aren't capitalistic. And capitalistic people are not, when you look at America from a capitalistic standpoint, we're not dedicated to any one country. capitalist people are dedicated to money. Okay, period.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's it.
so that's why we're having the problems that we're having in our country today, is because we are a capitalistic country, yet and still the people who were making a lot of money in America originally, they don't really give a damn about America. They give a damn about money. And they don't care what color the money comes in. They just want to be a part of money.
yeah.
So I say all that to say that when it comes back to Africa, and especially those countries aren't really capitalistic, but they're more, and I hate to,
Socialists.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're,
you know
they're
what I mean?
socialists.
And that's an African mentality that we all rise together.
Right.
It's a village mentality.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where we all look out for each other, and it's a much better system, and it's a much more humane system. You know what I mean? And so, yeah,
Hey,
there's nothing wrong with.
Here to the
Yeah.
African countries.
Yeah, hey, do your thing, brothers. Do your thing.
Right.
You know? But no, and I did want to. I also wanted to touch on what Doc was saying about the DEI situation. And so, yeah, they critical race theory is nothing more than looking at this country through an African American lens. That's it. You know what I mean? And so they've turned that into a great boogeyman, because to be able to look at this country through our contributions to this country, it all ties together, because they don't want for us to be able to acknowledge our contributions. They don't want our children, which is the most important thing. And I want to tie this in too. The article on this sister, Claudine Gay. So there's an article in the paper about the professor, about Claudine Gay. So go pick up the paper, go read this article. And so what this is about is their assault on this sister is about their
Tell them who
assault.
Claudine Gay is for
The
those.
president, she's the first black woman president of Harvard, first black president of Harvard. And so she rose by teaching African American studies. And that's been her career. And so the thing is, you can't take African American studies out of the classroom without saying that they have no value. And if the president of Harvard came up by teaching African American studies, you got to get rid of her first. In order to say that African American studies have no value, you got to get rid of her first, because she proves that it does have merit and it does have value. And so that's why they're going after that sister. You know what I mean? And so once they go after that sister and they're able to continue their assault on African American history, African American studies, it's about removing our contributions and about removing us from any kind of respectful discourse.
Let
in
me
this
ask a
country.
question, mainly for Dr. Chadwell, but for both of you as well. Removing any of these type of programs that have been talked about this year, what does that do to our black universities?
Let me finish the point. So I'll tell you what it does to our children.
Okay.
Because if your children are looking around wondering, and they seeing all this stuff, and they're wondering, what did my people contribute to this? But they can't find it in the books. How does that affect the children? You know what I mean? What did my people do? Where are our contributions to society? Where are our contributions to history? And so your kids walk around thinking that their people have never contributed to history. They've never contributed to the growth of America. They've never contributed to the advance of civilization.
So although
And
they never get it in secondary
no,
education.
what I'm saying is this: it's about defeating your kids before they even get started in life, because they're going to walk around with their head held low, thinking that their people never contributed to society.
Especially if 80% of the classrooms are managed by white women,
Why exactly?
and a lot of people don't even see a black professor or teacher until maybe later in high school or
Exactly.
even in college later on. That our kids, we have got to start educating our kids.
Right.
We have got to start educating our kids. And this conversation can go on and on and on, but we're passionate about what we believe in. We're passionate about what's happening to our community. And we hope that in 2024, that you will come back to visit us on YouTube. Every Saturday, we put out 2 videos, and like and subscribe to us, because we're really, even though we have the comments saying you too old, you too old. Well, you know what? We have we're still thinking, we're still observing, and we want you to come back to us, put your comments in, and continue to ride with us in 2024. And with that, we want to thank you for coming to today's show on Contemporary Black Voices.
And with all the great information that we give, how could you keep that to yourself? Hit that like and subscribe button, okay? And hit the bell so that when you know, or you will know when we have new videos, that you're able to see it. Don't keep this all to yourself. Share it with everybody else.
And hopefully, Fred will be back next week.
We
We'll
got to
see.
have a brand new set of boxing gloves for 2024.
That's right. And not Merry Christmas, but Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, folks.
Happy New Year. Give me a toast.
Don't break my glasses.